Shalom, family. This is your brother Dana, and I'm coming to you from the city of Atlanta, from a place in one love. These videos are an opportunity for me to share from my heart in hopes that it will encourage yours. Before I begin, I want to just share that this here doll I brought back from South Africa. The picture behind me, you can't quite see it all, but that came back from one of my trips to Nigeria, West Africa. This mask I brought back a year ago, April, after my mom and I took the journey of the Atlantic slave trade in Ghana, West Africa. And this up here is what we call a blow pipe or a blow gun that was given to me as I spent a summer in Indonesia. And for several of those weeks, I lived on an island with primitive tribes where I lived in a hut on stilts, probably 20 feet into the ocean from the shore. So at night, the wild animals would not get me. I thank the Most High Yah for the trips that He's allowed me to take. It has showed me the beauty of His diversity, of His creation. And I'm so grateful for those things. But I'm also so grateful for an opportunity for me, a Gentile, to be awoken to the truth that you, my black brothers and sisters, are the true chosen people of the Most High Yah. Most of you have only gotten to know me, if not all of you, since you've seen my face here on Facebook or YouTube for the last maybe 5-6 years. But there's 25 to 30 years behind where I am today that has made me who I am. And I would say there's only one person that really knows the journey the Most High Yah has sent me on, and that would be my mom. And many times, as I would talk to my mom throughout these years, she and I would talk about in Acts, when the Most High Yah said to Ananias regarding Paul, don't be afraid of him, but I'm going to show him how much he will have to suffer for my name's sake. I want to say this, and I want to say this clearly, loudly, that none of my suffering, none of my journey is even close to the suffering that you, my black brothers and sisters, have gone through. But my journey, and I praise the Most High Yah for it, has been used to break down myself, my pride, my arrogance of the white supremacy that I was born into. And so by the end of this video, you'll know why I've named this a late night snack attack. I would say I was in Chicago now about 15 years, on the west side of Chicago for about 5. I lived in North Lawndale, west side, also known as K-Town, Killer Town. And so because of the neighborhood, most of the stores closed down by 9 o'clock. But there was one gas station / convenience store that remained open 24/7. So at about 11:30, 11:45, one night I had a little snack attack, was doing some work, and decided to jump into my car and go get me a can of Coke and maybe I think it was maybe a Snickers candy bar. So when you walk up there, you talk to the clerk through bulletproof glass. You tell him or her what you want. They literally walk into the store and get what you're asking for, and then you pay the money. They turn the little turntable and you get your order. Got mine, began to walk back to my car when a young brother stepped up beside me and he said, hey man, you got some change? And I said, no man, I don't, I'm sorry. And he's like, no. do you have some change? And I said, no, sir, I don't have any change. I use my debit card. And then he got a little more, you don't understand, brother. We need some money. And by that time, as I was walking to the car, I was surrounded by 4 to 5 young black men. Well, good thing I was kind of thin. I was able to open my car door just enough for me to turn to the side and squeeze in, and I was able to shut the door, but I couldn't go nowhere because 2 of them were here and 2 or 3 of them were standing behind my car. I rolled down the window and I said, come on, gentlemen. I'm a pastor in the neighborhood. I just came up here to get a little snack. I don't have any change on me. I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want to cause any issues. I just want to go home. And so I'm going to put my car in reverse. Please let me go. So I put my car in reverse and backed up very slowly. And eventually the gentleman did step to the side. And as I drove off, I recall getting hit by a couple glass bottles. And when I got home, just kind of the whole reality of what just took place sunk in. Well, the next day I got up and I tried to walk and pray on 16th Street every single day. I would walk and pray for the gangs and the drug dealers on the streets because I saw them as entrepreneurs. I refused to see them as society calls them. Drug dealers, gang members, people that are of no value. And so on this particular day, as I was walking and praying, several young men began to come behind me. And I heard them talking. And before I could even turn around, I got smashed in the back of my head with a beer bottle. But at that time, an older gentleman had walked out and began to talk to me, which caused these guys to then fade back. And he said, you know, young man, I've been watching you for months. Been watching you walk. And he says, I know you're praying because he says, I know that God sent you here because you are walking on 16th Street. 16th Street is known as the blood path. He said many years ago, a young lady was murdered and her head was cut off, and the gentleman walked from Pulaski down here holding her head by her hair. And if you were not called by God, this very mouth of the serpent would have taken your life. Never saw him again. So I went home, and again, that shook me. Because right there on 16th Street was where I had intended of building Studio 2911, a place of hope, a youth center with a basketball court, barber shop, a barber school, an urban cafe, performing arts center, and 2 recording studios. Well, that night, I got a snack attack. But I recalled the situation I went through that morning, but especially the night before. But I heard the Father tell me to go. And I thought maybe he was asking me to go because as a kid, I fell off my bike when my dad took the training wheels off and I hurt myself. And my father made me get back on that bike right away. He said, if I don't make you get back on that bike, then your fear of falling will take over and you may never get back on that bike again. So I was believing the Father was sending me back to overcome any fear that would keep me hostage in my home. So I go to the same store, pretty much order the same stuff, turn around, go back to my car, sit in my car, shut the door, and say, Father, thank you. When all of a sudden, on my window, bam, 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 turned and looked, and there was a young brother. Took a little bit of a deep breath and rolled down the window, and I said, yes, sir, can I help you? And he said, are you that white guy that was walking on 16th Street earlier today? I said, yeah, that was me. He said, I saw you here tonight. And he says, I want to come and apologize to you because he said, I was one of those guys that were yelling those names at you. And he said, I actually threw one of the bottles at you. And he says, I later found out who you were and the things that you wanted to do in this neighborhood. And he said, I just want to say to you tonight, I'm sorry for what I did. And I hope that you will forgive me. Looked at the young man and I said, not only will I forgive you, brother, but I said, I have so much respect for you to come back and apologize. And I said, would you allow me to get out of this car and give you a hug? He said, yeah, man, no problem. Well, that night, this young man shared with me some of his hardships and some of his struggles. And that he didn't want to go the way of the streets, but he just didn't know of any opportunities available to him. Dropped out of school. But I knew of a program that was training individuals with carpentry skills. And I gave him my number, I gave him information, and I said, look, tomorrow, meet me and I'll take you to this place. And I said, you would be a perfect candidate. He met me. I took him. And I would say about 6 to 8 months later, I was somewhere on the west side. I don't quite remember where I was, but I heard a voice. Hey, Pastor. Hey, Pastor. I turned around and it was him. Came to tell me that he had graduated from this program, that he was now underneath a master carpenter learning the skills to get his carpentry certificate. And how his life had changed. And he said again, he said, thank you. Gave him another hug. And I've never seen him again. But I share this story to you because I'll never forget. Never forget that young man and all that situation taught me. Now you understand why I have called this the late night snack attack. This again is one of many stories that I may take the time to share with you. As I was sharing with my mentor, my Hebrew brother, my goal is not for you to sympathize or to say, oh, all hail to thee for what sacrifices you made. But an opportunity to share what I've gone through, praise the Most High God, to be able to be granted the privilege of knowing the truth of who the precious chosen children of the Most High Yah truly are. The privilege that I have to cleave to you, and the honor that I receive from the love that each and every single one of you give to me. And that's why from the bottom of my heart, I can truly say that I love you, my black brothers and sisters. I love you, the Most High Yah's precious chosen children. This is your brother Dana, coming to you from the city of Atlanta, from a place in one love. Shalom, family.